Well, good afternoon and welcome everyone. Today's review has now brought us here for a much more up-close and personal encounter with the 2014 Hyundai Accent SE 5-door hatchback. And now, with all of that being said, this is going to be a complete and in-depth review of the Accent hatchback, and this does entail a complete startup and overview of the engine, as well as a good look at many of the unique and notable styling cues and multiple features, technologies, and creature comforts that now make up this slightly refined version of Hyundai's small, popular 4-cylinder compact. And so, bearing all that new information in mind, let's go ahead and climb aboard and we'll check it out. To begin with, our fully loaded SE 5-door hatchback tester today is wearing the Clearwater Blue Pearl exterior. And beautifully accenting the brightness and depth of this Clearwater exterior, our particular vehicle's interior has been fully upholstered in the standard gray cloth upholstery. Beautiful smooth purr from that newly refined 1.6-liter 4-cylinder engine. Now in the SE, you get a fully trimmed leather-trimmed steering wheel. Very nice and soft, supple feel to the leather on the exterior rim of the wheel. The steering itself is actually quite tight and very responsive. A good response and feedback from the front wheels. And also, as you can see, being fully loaded, it does come with multiple buttons for all of your electronic creature comforts throughout the vehicle, and a nice soft vinyl-like material for the central airbag cover. Now, regardless of which trim level you pick, be it GS, GLS, or this fully loaded SE model, the Accent comes with 2 available transmissions. More basic models and even an SE can come with a standard 6-speed manual transmission, or in our case today, we have the electronically controlled 6-speed Shift-tronic automatic transmission, with again, Shift-tronic manual shifting capabilities to the right-hand side of the drive portion of the shifter. And also, all Accents are equipped with child protective safety locks, which will automatically lock the vehicle when all doors are closed and the car is put into gear, and will only unlock the vehicle when the car is in park and the ignition is switched off. Beautiful. Only the driver's side window is automatic in both directions. Now, regardless of which trim level you pick, be it GS, GLS, or SE, and in both 4- and 5-door variations, there is only one available power plant choice for the 2014 Accent lineup. Both the 4- and 5-door models will feature the same 1.6-liter dual overhead cam, 16-valve, gasoline direct fuel-injected inline 4-cylinder engine. This engine has also been equipped with Hyundai's signature dual continuous variable valve timing, and it cranks out 138 horsepower and 123 pound-feet of torque. For both 4- and 5-door hatchbacks, the EPA has actually rated this vehicle the same, scoring an average of 27 miles per gallon in the city and 37 miles per gallon on the interstate highway. 6-speed manual models have actually been known to get 1 mile per gallon better on the interstate highway at 27 city, 38 highway. Now let's see about a few revs of that 1.6-liter 4-banger and see what kind of soundtrack she produces. very beautiful and quite peppy exhaust note from that little 4-cylinder power plant. And with all that in mind, let's go ahead and turn on the headlights. In both GS and GLS trim levels, the headlights are not automatic. However, in the SE, with standard halogen projector lights and LED accents, the headlights can be set to an automatic setting. Go ahead and turn on the fog lights as well, and the hazard lights as usual. And now let's take this opportunity to take a quick peek at the exterior of this Accent hatchback. Now, with the SE being pretty much the top spec trim level that you can get for both 4- and 5-door variants of the Accent, it comes with a lot of highly advanced technological goodies for such a small, compact, affordable car. For starters, you have these beautiful chrome accented halogen projector beam headlights with factory LED accents running along the side and lower rim of the light. Also standard on the SE are factory fog lights. Now, with our SE having pretty much every available option in the book, it's riding on the standard set of upgraded 16-inch painted aluminum alloy wheels, upgraded over the standard 14-inch steel wheels for both GS and GLS trims, monochromatic or paint-matched LED turn signal equipped mirrors, intermittently timed rain sensing wipers, and as part of the power sunroof package for this particular vehicle, it of course comes with a power tilting and sliding sunroof. Other features on this vehicle include carpeted floor mats and also your all-weather trunk mat, which you'll see here in a minute. You get standard rear heated defrosting glass, along with a standard rear windshield wiper, small deck lid spoiler going across the rear glass, got your small radio antenna along with XM satellite radio as standard. Just an absolutely beautiful looking little compact car. Even though this is one of the more basic vehicles that Hyundai has to offer over all of its other models, the Accent definitely holds its own in one of the most competitive categories on the market, the small, compact, fuel-efficient vehicles. And now that we've had a good look around the exterior of the Accent hatchback, let's take a better look at what features have been added to the interior. As aforementioned, this particular vehicle has been upholstered in a standard light gray cloth. You've got these upgraded pattern portions in the central portions of the seats, an upgrade over the GS and GLS cloth interiors. For those who are curious, the SE does not come with a leather interior, even as fully loaded as this one is. However, dealers can supply custom leather interiors, and all at a dealer cost. Now, with this vehicle being fully loaded, it does have all the electronic amenities you would expect, including power windows and an automatic one-touch driver's side window in both directions, your power door locks, along with window locks, power mirrors, chrome trim door handles, your active eco mode, which we'll touch on here in a bit, traction control, instrument dimming, along with a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And even as loaded out as this one is, both the driver and passenger seats are also manual recline and height adjustment. Now, one thing about the interior of the SE trim level of the Accent is you'll notice that it pretty much has a lot more sort of luxury options over the standard GS and GLS trim levels that we've looked at already. For example, if you've seen our GS or GLS tester review, you'll notice that the steering wheel is not so much barren like it was in the other car. Instead, you have a lot of standard features here that aren't available on cars such as the GLS and GS. For instance, aforementioned was the leather trim steering wheel. It's leather all the way up to the airbag cover, and again, a nice soft supple feel with soft ridges going along the back edge of the steering wheel for plentiful gripping capabilities. All sorts of painted silver accenting here on the steering wheel, your doors, and parts of your dashboard. But also you get features such as your standard radio mode and volume controls, your active cruise control settings, voice command for certain electronic creature comforts throughout the radio, and also your hands-free Bluetooth system with the microphone located right here just in front of the sunroof. Now, here in the center console, you'll notice that there is actually quite a lot of this black piano veneer. This is actually the same stuff that is pretty much used in cars like the much more luxurious Genesis and even the Equus in certain cases. Now, just because it's in those more luxurious cars does not mean that it takes away from the fact that this is a more basic economy car. However, it does add a very nice little luxurious touch. For starters, you have an upgraded radio. You still have the same XM satellite radio. And if you hit the radio button, you can actually switch between 3 different settings in your XM radio. You've also got the media button here, being that this vehicle does have standard iPod USB and auxiliary inputs down here in the lower center console. Your Seek track buttons, also your hands-free phone, assuming it's Bluetooth linked, all your preset radio stations, the availability to scan the radio and vehicle setup, your vehicle menu, and also categories and folders when scanning your XM radio. You also have rear defrosting, or your rear defrosting glass down here, hazard switch, and also the passenger airbag indicator when a passenger actually sits in the passenger seat. There's actually little weights in the passenger seat of the vehicle that when you start it, assuming the passenger is sitting here but does not put their seatbelt on, the vehicle will actually still chime to let you know that the passenger has not put on their seatbelt. Now, as far as economics or ergonomics go, it does have a lot of hard touch materials, as this is a more basic car, but they do have a little bit more of a soft touch to them. A little bit more of the soft touch materials here on the door, a little bit more plasticky feeling, but still not the cheapest feeling thing in the world. You also have your cloth padded door panels here on the sides. Also your painted silver accents, as aforementioned here. And underneath all of your radio controls and so on is your temperature control. Now, it's a single zone system, being that it doesn't really need a 2 or 3 zone system since it is such a small vehicle. You've got your fan here controls right here in the middle. You've got all of your different climate zones here on the right hand side, your air conditioning introduction when you just push the button in the middle, and also you have your temperature control over here and your maximum air conditioning controls when you turn it all the way to the left. You can see a continuation of the black piano veneer here around the shifter. You've got more of the painted silver accents as well, and you've also got a nice little accenting of chrome and the more veneer up here on the shifter knob. And it's also a full leather trim shifter knob compared to the more vinyl-like material in a GS or GLS trim. You've Got a little bit more of the hard touch plastics down here in the center console, but it's not like a Lego car. You can't just pull it apart. It's not that simple. These are very, very solid and well-built cars. E-brake handle is also wrapped in the same thing. Now up top, you've got your one-touch power sliding sunroof with a manual sunshade. Very nice. And as far as headroom goes, what's actually amazing about the Accent is that there is so much room in here. Keep in mind, this reviewer here is about 6'1", and you can see there actually is quite a bit of headroom here in the front seat, and I'm sitting almost bolt upright. Got your little reading lamps up top, sunglasses holder, door lights, and even vanity mirrors. Now, one thing we did want to touch on is this active eco mode right here. It's a signature feature that's on pretty much every single one of Hyundai's more basic cars, and even some of their more loaded cars have this feature as well. If you'll notice up here around the tachometer, you see a little indicator that says eco. Now, if you turn that off, you can drive the car pretty much however you want, and however you drive it is however much MPG you're going to get according to the active mile per gallon meter up here. However, if you turn the active eco mode on, and try to keep this in plain English here, it basically adjusts your transmission timings and how much throttle input the vehicle will actually do, because it's more of an electronic throttle than a drive-by-wire. And what it does is it will lessen your throttle timings and your transmission timings to allow the vehicle to drive at its most fuel efficient in both city and highway driving conditions. Now, again, you turn that off and you pretty much are on your own, but you turn it on and you can actually get some of those rather encouraging numbers like what you see on the Moroni sticker here on the back. As a matter of fact, we actually drove this car recently, and we had this little mile per gallon meter all the way up to about 50 miles to the gallon on the interstate highway at about 65 to 70 miles an hour. Overall, the interior of the Accent's quite spacious, and footroom is actually very decent. And also, with the manual height adjustment, you're never too far away and your seat doesn't actually go to waste like the power adjustments like you might find elsewhere. Also got standard cup holders here in the doors. You got one in the driver's door, one in the passenger door, and one for each of your rear passengers as well. Overall, a very well-built car and definitely worth the money. But with all that in mind, let's go ahead and turn off the engine. And with that being said, let's go ahead and check out the rest of the Accent hatchback. Now, sitting back here in the back is definitely a comfortable place to be, especially for someone that's about my height. I'm about 6'1", and even for someone shorter than that, you're definitely at an advantage. Right now, the seat is where I would have it if I were driving the vehicle. And as you can see, foot room is plentiful. I can actually stretch out just a little bit, nice and deep footwells as well, and also a little bit of legroom, and it can be made even better if your driver is of a shorter status. Now, when it comes to actually sitting in the vehicle, the seats are actually nice and plush and do have a little bit of firmness to them, but are not the most uncomfortable thing in the world to sit on. Now, to access the trunk, you can either unlock it and use the small touchpad underneath, or just use the key. Also, as you can see, you've got a standard cargo cover here in the back, just attaches via cords to the upper portion of the hatch. And this actually allows those peeping eyes to not be able to see what you put in the lower part of your trunk. As you can see, you have your fully accented all-weather floor mat here on the back. Nice and calm. You've also got your child seatbelt locks up there in the front. And these are also 60/40 split fold rear seats accessed through the triggers just above the seats in the rear. As you can see, the seats fold down just via the little triggers up here. Fold nice and flat to allow for plentiful storage capabilities. You pretty much double your cargo capacity when you actually fold the seat down, so it actually is quite roomy when you fold them down. Now, as far as standard safety features and electronic safety comforts, you have electronic stability control, automatic braking systems or ABS, and you've also got dual stage front impact airbags, front and rear side curtain airbags, and also side impact airbags here in the doors. Take a quick seat in the passenger side. You can definitely see that even sitting in the exact same position where we would have the driver's seat in our case, you can actually see I actually have quite a bit of plentiful legroom here in the bottom. I can actually stretch my legs almost all the way out completely. Now, as far as the glove box, just a simple button. It falls nice and slowly, so it is a little bit damped, but it's not lined with felt or anything like that. But it does have plentiful storage capabilities for all your reading materials and so on. Overall, for those looking for a basic mode of transportation for not a whole lot of money, in this case under $20,000 for all trim levels of the Accent, and someone who wants good fuel efficiency, a good bit of room, but doesn't want to spend money on a mid or even full-size 4-cylinder vehicle, the Accent should definitely be on the shopping list of a lot of modern-day first car buyers. So viewers, I hope you've enjoyed this rather in-depth look at the 2014 Hyundai Accent SE 5-door hatchback. For more information on this vehicle or any of the other vehicles in Hyundai's lineup, feel free to visit your local Hyundai dealer or come visit any one of the local Houston Hyundai dealers, be it Baytown or North Freeway or even the location here in Humble. Until then, viewers, I hope you enjoyed the review, and I will see you guys later.